If you take a look at the family leader, think of three circles, the church, the family, and government. Where those three intersect, that's where we play. What would you say to people of faith? What should their role be to engaging this institution of government, to honor God, to bless families, to love their neighbors themselves? But what's the role of the people of faith to engage this institution of government?
Be proactive. I think we have a responsibility that we should not shy away from. We were talking about this here briefly before, and we actually talked about this the first time we met, Bob, is what I see in the country is a vacuum of purpose and meaning, especially among young people, but I think it's true of all people. I mean, tell me, I just think that we could talk about the thought experiment of the pregnant woman who was assaulted earlier. Let's try a different thought experiment here. Do you think that if we had more people who genuinely in their heart and in their bones believed in God today across the country, do you think we would be as divided and polarized as we are? It's almost impossible to think that we would be. Right? We're equal. Our equality exists. We're equal in the eyes of each other because we're equal in the eyes of God. We would see one another as co-equal citizens because we know we are each made in the image of God. And yet, is it a coincidence that we see, at the same time we see a decline in faith, we see a decline in patriotism? At the same time we see a decline in patriotism, we see a decline in self-confidence. At the same time we see a decline in self-confidence, we have an epidemic of depression and anxiety and mental health illness, including gender dysphoria, including now latching on to struggles for civil rights that have long been achieved, wokeism, gender ideology, climate ideology. These are symptoms of a deeper vacuum of purpose and meaning in our country. And I think that the job of the next president, certainly I believe an important part of that job is to fill that void with a vision of American national identity. Answering, as I said at the beginning, what it means to be an American today that dilutes this poison to irrelevance. And that's an important part of the story, but I think the revival of God and a belief in God, a belief that there's more to life than just this aimless passage of time, that actually there is something more meaningful, a purpose for which we're put here. I think that we're never going to get 100% of the way there, even with a revival of just national identity. I think that gets us back to a place of self-confidence so we can start talking openly about faith again. But to your question about what can institutions like yours or even the people in this room, people of faith, play is to not stand down and think that that's not your lane. To the contrary, we need people of faith to stand up without apology for what is true. And I think that the less we treat God as a three-letter word, a four-letter word, put it back to a three-letter word, I guess, but the better off we're going to be as a country healing our national division.